Tadri.
Oh, what's up, Jake Shields? How you doing, man?
Hey guys, can you see me, Ethan?
Yeah, I can see you. Chad, can you hear him? How you doing, Jake?
Good, man. Just get at the gym, run some errands, heading out to Austin tomorrow.
Oh, okay, are you going to meet up with the property of Allah guy with the Quran in his car?
That's like actually property of. You don't have a shirt that says that?
Do you know what?
Do you have a shirt that says that? Like none of my Muslim friends wear shirts that say that. I was actually thinking that same thing. That seems ridiculous. Him walking on with a shirt that says "Property of Allah."
Yeah, that's one of the most obvious. It's almost insulting that Mossad is getting that arrogant that they think that we're going to buy. That was one that even though the people that hate Muslims were like, all right, like this is ridiculous. Like
they do it a lot. You know, like the this is off subject, but the RFK assassination. They had a guy kill him, and he had a Palestinian guy had a newspaper about the Palestinian conflict. Our RFK Senior. They do this type of stuff. It's like, well, look at the one in where was that at in Australia? They had that guy's a Mossad agent. He's literally the attorney that's defending Netanyahu against the ICC. He holds up, takes a selfie, and goes like, "Jews are under attack." Can you imagine if there's like a shooting going on? Are you gonna take out a picture, phone, take a selfie of yourself, or are you gonna go help people?
Yeah, that one, the Australian one, like on the first day of Hanukkah, like super obvious. So I almost like I'm kind of mad at myself. I'm like, you guys should be able. You have a lot of money. You guys can do better than this, right? Like, there's going to be more false flags, but they should try harder.
Yeah, no, there's definitely going to be false flags. People need to be wary, and there also could be some legitimate terrorist attacks because I absolutely think they're disgusting, but people are upset. They feel disheartened. I think more of the attacks would be from Mossad, but you could see some Muslims frustrated doing some attacks too. So it's concerning. You know, I have some trips overseas coming up, and it's like, okay, we went and started this war for no reason. There's not one single way that anyone can say that it benefits America. Not a single damn thing it does for America, and it's a complete mess in the Middle East. We don't really know how long it's going to go, what's going to happen. Is it going to turn into a full-on conflict with the East? You know, taxes, gas is going to go up, or taxes are going to go up just for Israel. And American people are sick of it, but they're so arrogant, they don't even care. They didn't even sell us this war. Like, you're probably too young to remember, but like in the Iraq war, they spent like a year selling it first, and then they went into it because it wasn't popular. But I think when we went into the war, it still had like about 55% of the U.S. population approved. For this war, it said when it first started, 22% of Americans approved. So it's the lowest, you know, we've never gone into a war with this low of popularity, and he didn't even try to sell it. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, they don't care anymore. I mean, that's just proof of how much we've been subverted by Jewish supremacy. The war on terror, the pretext was 9/11 and was tons of propaganda. Iraq war didn't start until 2003, 9/11 was 2001. So you're right. I grew up during the Iraq war, so I got to learn how bad it was, but they just don't seem to care anymore. They just want to accelerate it. And I think that's more proof because George Bush did it for the love of the game. He wasn't even in the Epstein files. They did have a picture, Epstein had a picture of him throwing the plane or sitting like a little child. But Bush just seemed to do it because he hated Muslims. Trump, he's all over the Epstein files. You could probably assume that they applied pressure on him. Epstein called him one of the most evil people that he's ever seen in his life. You think like, wait, what was the blackmail that they have on Trump that they don't have on other people? Then you look back at videos and Trump is saying, Ivanka's so hot. She's great ass. She's a great. It's like, wait, maybe this is why. Maybe that's the blackmail that got him to accelerate and not even try to push propaganda that people believe in.
Yeah, I mean, there's at least two 13-year-old girls that claim that him and Epstein raped them together at Epstein's mansion in New York, the one that was full of cameras. And you know, you can't believe every allegation, obviously, but it's two girls, 13, both saying Epstein and Trump raped them together.
If you understand the military-industrial complex, you know we have to go to war every decade.
There was a report of someone called in. He was concerned about a girl, and then she got like shot after reporting it. So it's so obviously just being covered up by the DOJ, the FBI. They're pulling files. It's crazy when you see that the DOJ and FBI work for these people. It's like us conspiracy theorists have kind of suspected this, but it's even worse than what I imagined.
I think it's time that anti-Semites like Jake Shields, I think everybody, I'm going to say this, you deserve an apology. Look how much backlash you faced since you started your podcast. I remember I was on your first episode. I think you've done a great job so far. You put out a lot of proper information. And then people like you were demonized, but you have the anti-war position. If many people listened to what you were saying, then maybe we wouldn't be in the position we are right now at this war. I'm wondering, what are your predictions? Where do you think this is going to go? Are we going to be successful?
I don't really know. It's hard. It's hard to predict. Obviously, I don't think Iran can beat us military, but I don't really know what we're going to do. It's like we can keep killing the people, but it seems like we said, oh, they're going to rally and overthrow the government. It seems it's done the exact opposite. They're rallying harder behind the government. They're having massive rallies. They're pissed off, and they're trying to just inflict pain upon the whole region, which I can't blame them. Like, what else are they supposed to do? If they go and make a deal with us, we're just going to bomb them again. So we were supposed to be negotiating a deal, and we went and bombed them. And you know who he sent to negotiate the deal? It was, I believe, Howard Lutnick, Jared Kushner, and that a third guy who's Jewish. So you send 3 people that are Jewish to negotiate a peace deal, and really for Israel. So obviously they were there to negotiate for Israel, not the interests of Iran, of America. It's the whole government works for Israel. And like you said earlier, I think it's so extreme. I think it's about blackmail, not just about Trump being controlled. I think he already was tied in with lots of these rich Jewish billionaires, but then ultimately it comes to blackmail because it's so over the top with like the Iran war. Apparently I heard reports of the CIA was telling him it's probably not a good idea. We don't, killing the the Ayatollah is probably not going to make them do a revolution. And he ignored them and bombed them anyways. And now the mess we have.
I think it goes even much deeper than blackmail. I think this is prophecy. This does align perfectly with Islamic, Jewish, and Christian eschatology with the end times and summoning the Antichrist. You can see that this is, if you look at the way Pete Hegseth is speaking about Muslims, he's saying we cannot allow Islamic prophecy to have nukes. We can't let them have nukes. It goes because there's no legitimate reason. They keep saying that, okay, Iran posed an imminent threat, and then they say it's been an imminent threat for 47 years. So for half a century, imminent threat means immediate, it means direct, it means soon. This is the opposite of imminent. Then they say, Marco Rubio says, okay, they didn't pose an imminent threat, but we need to support Israel because US and Israel are allies. So they can't be consistent with their reasons for war. The only greater reason, what transcends that is you have to look at faith, because people keep saying, okay, Israel's a fascist regime. No, it's a Jewish supremacist regime. Look at the way Epstein calls everybody goy. So you can see videos of rabbis applying pressure on Epstein saying, we really need the Mashiach. We really need the Antichrist. Then you look at Jewish eschatology and it says that you need Europe, you need the Roman Empire to be destroyed in order for the Messiah to come. And part of their objective is to pin Muslims and Christians against each other, to war with each other while they expand greater Israel.
No, you nailed it. It's like they're really trying to bring back this like biblical thing, whether it's the Antichrist, the end of times or whatever, and they believe it. People can say you're crazy, but these people clearly believe it, and lots of these Christians believe it too. It's odd that Christians are trying to help bring in the Antichrist. I also think it's odd that we have a Judeo-Christian alliance in America, but yet, Muslims, Protestant, Sunni Muslims, Shiite Muslims, Orthodox, Catholics, they all love Jesus Christ. The Jews, they killed Jesus Christ. They hate him. They think he's burning in hell. So you think the religions that love Christ would be united against the religions that hate Christ, and that's just not the case.
I'm supposed to believe, or Americans, we're supposed to believe that Khomeini was the evil one. There's tweets of him saying that we love Jesus Christ. He is a savior, that he's going to return. We revere him as a prophet. Trump didn't even swear in on the Bible. Mark Levin puts his arm around Trump, and Mark Levin Lil Bros him, says, you're our first Jewish president. Trump goes, it's true, it's true. Yeah. So why am I supposed to believe that the people covering up for Epstein that can't even say that they love Jesus Christ are the good guys? And again, I mean, when are you going to become Jake Abdul Shields?
I like Christianity and Islam, to be honest. I see these religions so similar. I think there should be an alliance. It's like, yes, they're not the same religion. There's a few small differences, but there's so much similarities. They both believe Allah and God. They both believe in Jesus Christ and love. I think one thinks he's the God, one thinks he's one of the top prophets. I think there needs to be an alliance between these two religions. It's been a psyop to divide us. It's a clear psyop, and they put Judeo-Christian. They literally hate him. I think he's burning. And what is it? I think human shit and feces in hell. Like, these guys absolutely hate Christians and they hate Muslims, but yet we've aligned. It's just been absolute trickery. They've done a good job of dividing the Muslims too, the whole Shiite versus Sunni divide. So they have them fighting. And, there's a lot of great Sunni people, but the Sunni leaders have been, for the most part, cowards, because you have the Palestinians are Sunni Muslims being massacred, and it's Shiites. I don't know all the details. I'm not like an expert on this, but it seems to be the Shiite Muslims are the ones defending them and fighting for their rights. That's kind of backwards to me. I think the Muslim people need to unite, the Christians and Muslims need to unite and realize who our real enemy is.
Well, I think you got it right. You always said, like, they try to force everybody to condemn the Palestinian resistance, but they were really standing up. And the Palestinian resistance is all predominantly Sunni, right? And these people they're being funded. The axis of resistance is being funded by Iran. So there's a lot more Sunni Shia unity than they make it seem. The propaganda and the lies being spread that it's really divided, that's all part of the psyop and the plan too, right? That's part of the objective. And I think the criticisms of Sunnis, I think it could be really specified at Iran is saying it's the Gulf countries, that it's the leaders in charge of Saudi, UAE, Bahrain, that these are the people that have allied with the U.S., which the Iranians call the Great Satan. So if the U.S. is threatening to bomb Iran so much, and you guys are aligning and allowing military bases there and doing all your business in American dollars, then you're supporting the enemy. So I would not say that's representative of all Sunnis.
Yeah, no, I agree. I've been critical, but it's really of the leaders of those countries. And I get it. If they criticize these leaders, they'll probably be arrested and executed. So it's not as easy, So it's easy for me to say oh, I'm constantly bashing Trump and the goy here that side with the Jews. But for those guys that live in those countries, they could get arrested and possibly executed for criticizing it. So it's a little more complicated, but it does suck seeing these leaders like MBS, the crown prince of Saudi Arabia. It turns out he was good friends with Epstein. There's pictures of them together. They're doing business transactions. They have meetings set up. He's all over the files. I think there's 400 or so. His name's in 400 times, and that was just under MBS. I didn't search his real how you actually say his name, Saudi Arabia. So who knows how tight they are.
Yeah, I love going to Saudi, so it's it's just,
I can't go. I can't go to those places anymore. Yeah, I thought about God damn it, I could make good money in Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi, but I can't help speaking truth. So now I can't go to those countries probably. But if I see evil, I'm not going to not call it out. Hey, something I saw that was dark? You got a rug, a Muslim prayer rug. I don't know the details behind it, but it's something that had millions of Muslim prayers on it. And Epstein bought this. I think it was that businessman sold it to him. That's dark. I don't know if that's black magic or mockery or what is he trying to do buying Muslim prayers?
So Epstein purchased a piece of the Kaaba. The Kaaba is where we pray to. It's the first mosque. It was built by Abraham. And so people say we worship the mosque. No, we don't. This is just the place of worship. And so we pray in that direction. Right, a piece of that was sold to Epstein, and the black magic reason behind it is it has so much power, it has so much prayer towards it, so much energy involved with it. Let me turn this into a rug and disrespect it and step on and disrespect the Muslims completely. So that stuff is evil, and that wasn't responsible. That wasn't MBS, but it was somebody within Saudi allegedly. I'm not going to go blame.
Maybe that Sultan guy. I'm not positive about that though. The one that there was that Sultan.
I read that it was a woman.
Maybe it was, yeah, because he has a bunch of connections over there, which is crazy. He's so connected. It just shows you how the Epstein's connected with our politicians, the politicians of the Middle East. He's tight with all these
in
people.
India.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty impressive in an evil, diabolical way, everything he's accomplished, how connected he is, all this. He was doing all kinds of crazy science, too, that no one's really talking about, the most elite level of science with top Nobel Prize winners. He was pumping millions of dollars. I think he had big, labs at Zorro Ranch. He was talking about creating – the guy's not a talker. He's a doer. He was talking about creating baby ranches, bringing in fake wombs. He had sequenced Neanderthal DNA. And this is not with random people. This is with top scientists. We're talking about bringing back Neanderthal babies. There's all this crazy shit that no one's talking about that are all in the files. And he don't take me as the guy that's just going to make up random shit and talk about, hey, we should do this.
And again, Leslie Wexner, he did say in the 80s that he was possessed by a Jewish demon and a demon that latches on to others. And so if you follow this eschatology, you follow that faith, you can assume that Leslie Wexner was possessed by a Jewish demon to accelerate the end of the world. And the reason that he latched onto Epstein was to get him to do the bidding of him and to get the world destruction, to get the world to be corrupted, because the end goal is to summon the Antichrist. I'm wondering now, because you got so much of this stuff right, it's your Twitter's so funny, you go full frontal. Who do you think is getting this stuff right? Who's on the right side and who's on the wrong side in your point of view?
Man, it was complex. That is crazy, that whole thing. In his own words, everyone's oh, he's saying. He says he's possessed by a Jewish demon. He can't control it. He says this himself. This is a billionaire. He's dedicated his entire life to world Jewry. And he was also threatened to be killed when he mentioned Rothschild. So it just shows you there's something bigger at play. And I don't know if it's demonic or it does seem like it is. Like, should I use synopsy then? You start realizing there's a spiritual battle. And who's on the right side, wrong side? That's complex, you know? Guys like David Icke have gotten so much right, who I used to think was crazy. Don't think he got everything right, but he's been like getting so many things right. And there's been lots. I mean, thankfully, there's been tons of people that have been good. That's why there's been a change. You know, there's so many of us, guys like you who stepped up, guys like Dan Bilzerian. Nick Fuentes has been at it forever, you know, before us, like going at it. There's been so many guys that have been pushing it, and just so many just random people that aren't that big now are talking about it. Guys with 20, 30,000 followers, and guys coming in like educated out of nowhere, seeing guys that fully know their knowledge. Because the information's out there, so people can wake up quick now. Before, it was so hard finding information. It was so hard fact-checking things. You thought you were like crazy. When I first started looking down this rabbit hole, it's like 4 years ago. It's changed so much that it's all over Facebook, Instagram, and they're going to have a hard time putting it back in because just regular people, like I'll have friends that'll be talking about it and I'll see them 2 months later and they'll just know so much. And I'll be like, dude, like, how did you like figure out so much? Because the information's out there everywhere now.
What I like about your platform is that you don't spend time pushing infighting and division for the most part. You focus on the bigger issue, which is this subversion of Jewish supremacy in America. So if you see people align with that, then you go on board. I think that within this space, like the amount of infighting, misdirection, and clip farming to try to gain a populist movement is way too much. It's distracting. It's exactly what Netanyahu wants. When he sees the Goyim divided like that, he's extremely happy and it helps him out. So you do a good job of staying focused on the bigger problem. And I'm wondering, especially because you're a white American, how do you think we can get more people to wake up about this? Because more American soldiers are going to die. People now are saying in the chat that 650 U.S. soldiers were killed in an attack. We know that several are coming back and wrapped in an American flag already, which I think is disrespectful. If they're dying for Israel, then they shouldn't be wrapped in a lie. They should be wrapped in the Star of David to respect the families who are understanding that they're part of a lie, but also as a signal to other troops to prevent them from dying under a lie and deception as well. If troops are thinking that they're going to die for our country because they see, oh, look, I'm going to be a patriot and a hero, I'm wrapped in the flag, and they're really dying for the Jewish supremacists, we should use this as an opportunity, where they shouldn't be even used as an opportunity. Let's just be truthful about what's going on to prevent more death. I think that's the most patriotic position. How do we get more veterans like that? How do we get more people similar to you? You know, Lucas Gage was a veteran of the Iraq War. I think you have an opportunity to reach those people that if you don't reach them, they have the propensity to die in a war for the Jewish supremacists.
Yeah, I think lots of veterans are going to start waking up. You know, there's Bahala TV, Nate, I can't remember his last name. I've had him on. He's a Green Beret. He's completely awake to it. More and more people are just seeing it. It's like, it's become too obvious. I don't see how they're going to put it back in. And it's disgusting that Americans are going to die for these racist, disgusting, you know, Netanyahu hates us. They hate us more than anything. Again, obviously not all Jewish people, but there's a lot of them. You know what, maybe 80% of people in Israel. You see all those videos of Christians being attacked. I don't even have to say how they treat Muslims. So we're fighting with people that hate us. And some of the people need to realize they're our greatest ally. They have not sent one soldier ever to fight in one of our wars, to fight the Iraq war, Afghanistan. These wars we're doing for them, they won't put a single soldier. They haven't paid a single dollar. They won't let us have any military bases. We have a few of our military guys there manning bases, but the bases are there solely for Israel's protection. They won't let us have anything independent. We only can send our military to Israel if they're fighting for Israel. We only can basically everything we do is for Israel, and they do nothing for us. Not a single thing. You know, you obviously know they've attacked us, killed our soldiers, done false flags. They offer nothing, and we offer everything. And people are sick of it, and it seems like it's going to be tough to change because they have such control over our government, and they're arrogant, and they act like there's nothing we could do. But I think their arrogance is going to be their downfall. But we do need to act quick because they're going to use things like Palantir, drones. That's what they think. They're just going to have us all killed. People think I'm crazy saying that, but that's actually what they have planned.
I'm wondering, you're good friends with Sean Strickland. Are you going to ever get him to go around? I see he's tweeting about Hamzat, putting him next to a goat. He says that he's America first. Sometimes he criticizes Israel, but he doesn't seem to understand that he's doing the bidding of the non-goy by, dividing more and hating Muslims and thinking that that's an issue. Like he's saying Alex Jones propaganda, the Islamic takeover of the West. When are you going to, I think you have the propensity to wake up guys like Strickland, like those hardcore Americans that have been propagandized so much with, Muslims or terrorists rhetoric over and over again.
I try. I've gotten through to him a little bit because initially he was so hardcore, like Israel, that anti-Islam. I think I've definitely got through to him a little bit. He can be difficult. We're like kind of friends. Kind of sometimes we fight though too because we mostly get along, but we can clash. Because I think he can be an idiot sometimes. He'd probably say the same, so we can clash. But he's come a long way. He's realized that Israel is not our friend. You know, I guess he said when they asked him about fighting on the Trump card, he's like, "Why would I want to, hang out with the Epstein files?" So he is waking up, but he still has that strong anti-Islam belief. Part of that might just be he doesn't like Hamzat too. You have to figure selling a fight. I think part of it might be his real beliefs, but then maybe overplaying it a little bit because he really wants to sell that fight. So they're going to love pushing that division.
It was kind of funny. The guy he fought, that Mexican, that TKO, didn't that look kind of familiar? That the end of that fight, he got dropped. But what did that remind you of?
Actually, I watched the clip of the fight, but I was traveling during the fight, so I didn't watch the whole fight. Like I'm trying to think of what did he knock him out with? I saw a little clip like on Twitter.
The same, a bunch of punches. It was all punches.
No, it's because which? Oh, when he came out hitting you.
I didn't go down. I didn't go down.
He got slept by Pereira, but that was a single shot. Yeah, no, he was doing that barrage on you, and he didn't go down. No, I think you gained a lot of respect from like fighters that day because you went in there, you got your ass kicked, but you didn't bitch, you didn't go down, took a beating, and you finished your workout that day. And a lot of fighters were actually pissed at Strickland because the way he came at you like that, he asked you to spar, which fighters look at it. If someone asks you to spar, it can be looked as a challenge. But if you ask someone to spar who's like not a professional, you beat them up, that's considered like a low life, sleazy thing to do. A lot of fighters are pissed at Sean for that.
Do you think Gypsy Crusader would have a good fight on Aiden's card? They're saying that he might fight on brand risk.
Yeah, I saw something. I saw a picture of him fighting. I could hit him up because that'd be interesting. Maybe I'll come out to that. When is that?
I have no idea, but I think it's still being negotiated. But that could be a good one. But it's kind of funny because like his whole thing is like he says all the time he doesn't want Jews to control him, and then you're gonna go fight on a Jewish boxing card and tap dance for the non-goy, and like he's gonna rub his hands together and make money off him. But it'd be a great fight. He has a major Muay Thai background. It could be interesting.
Yeah, he's actually a pretty good fighter. I trained with him. We didn't train hard because we were just kind of we didn't want to start tagging each other and going at it, so we're just kind of playing around. But I was like, oh, he actually knows how to fight. Because a lot of guys you hear they're a fighter and they suck. I'm like, oh, he actually has some skills. I think he's a pretty good fighter. He had potential, but then, one, there's not a lot of money in kickboxing, but also he went to prison for, I can't remember the exact charges, some kind of weird trumped up charges over Antifa. He beat up Antifa, some weird, basically they're trying to throw him in prison for his political views.
Yeah, that was on your podcast. I watched your collab together and he was talking about his life and I think he was saying that it was self-defense that he was attacked and he was attacked, he had to retaliate. I can't remember. But it's someone in the chat too. I want to see what you think. They're saying, okay, maybe the Iranians should stop chanting death to America, right? That's the narrative. Oh, we need to nuke them because they say death to America. What's your response to this slop?
I think that, we're sanctioning them, we're war with them, we're constantly bombing them. We've been antagonizing them nonstop for years. Remember Trump's last presidency? He bombed and randomly killed one of the generals. We're constantly bombing them. They're always trying to have peace with us. They've been trying to negotiate a deal with us for years, and we're clearly the ones starting the war. It's like, I don't know why I do know why we want war with Iran, because they won't back down to Israel. So Iran has no problem with us. They can't hit us with missiles. They're not in our range. They haven't done anything for years. We've been trying to egg on a war. A few years ago, the Mossad, they pretended like they were CIA agents. They gave cash to rebels in Pakistan to do terrorist attacks inside of Iran because they wanted Iran to get mad and retaliate. So they're like, us and Israel are constantly doing terrorism to them. And of course, they're going to react occasionally. This is the first time they really started unleashing. Because even before, when they tried hitting our military base, it was after we assassinated one of their top generals, and they still warned us before. They've done everything to try to be restrained and to try to not have war with us. It's like, this is clearly America starting this war. And people say, oh, you're not supporting America. It's like, no, I'm a huge patriot, which is why I don't want Americans to go die in a stupid war with a country that didn't start it with us. This is for Israel. If you're patriotic, you don't want this war. Why would I want, our children or young people to go and face and die for these racist people that hate us? The Iranians never called me a goy.
No Iranian ever called me Goy. Well, what about the Western Iranians like PBD? There's another streamer named Kason. They're really happy. They say the Iranians are celebrating, but the only Iranians that's celebrating are like, they look like OnlyFans whores and gay people or undercover Jews. The rest of the people in Iran, it seems like the majority are like they're rallied up and they're in support of Khomeini for the most part. So why do you think these Western Iranians are saying, yes, Iran's free right now, but then they go bomb a school and kill 170 schoolgirls?
Yeah, I think most Iranians that left are the ones that didn't like the ruler there. So, and I don't know, that's debatable if it's good or bad. That's who am I to determine what their society should be? But something I do find interesting is, okay, you look at OnlyFans. I think he's the number one donator to AIPAC. It's millions of dollars he donates. So he gives millions of dollars to AIPAC. AIPAC lobbies to have our politicians go to Iran and blow it up. And then now they can have, if they win, they can have Iranian girls go be whores on OnlyFans too. Just the irony of that. He's spending money to kill people, and then, maybe they can have more. Maybe he'll make money off it because then he can have Iranian dudes simping, being dumbasses, paying OnlyFans, and then also you have the girls being whores. It's like it's the most evil thing ever.
Do you think I should fight top goy Andrew Tate? He's offering $1 million to fight. Right now I probably weigh 160. I've been fasting, so. All right.
Bigger than you. Plug it. It's what will the weight be? It would be like.
I don't know. Have you ever fought somebody out of your weight class like that? I think he fought last at 200. He probably walks around 230. I walk around.
He's definitely bigger than you.
It's almost though like he has a lot more to lose because you've never had any pro fights. Have you even fought amateur?
I haven't even had an amateur fight. He's had like 80 kickboxing professional fights. I haven't had an amateur fight.
Yeah, so it's really like a losing situation for him. I don't know why he'd want to do that. Because if you go out there and just have a close fight with him, even if you lose, that's still a win. Being smaller, having never, he'd spent half his life being a professional kickboxer, maybe more than half his life. And to want to fight someone that's never fought seems a little bit odd. Did you, I can't believe you played that song, Sneako.
Sneako did it. The song, it's kind of funny, Jake. It's like he went on this whole Jewish podcast apology tour nationwide right before anti-Semitism becomes super popular because we're fighting a war for Jewish supremacists, and right before the Epstein files leak. It's like the timing to apologize to Jews has never been worse.
Yeah, that was bizarre. I get along with him. I'm closer to his brothers. I don't want to sit there and talk shit. I try to avoid division, but that was ridiculous. Like when he was, I didn't watch the whole podcast, but it looked terrible. The clips I've seen being like, Sneako did it. And I don't care if you did it. There's like a bro code that you never just throw someone under the bus, whether you did or didn't do it. You don't like just throw someone else and be like, oh, he did it. It's just not how I roll, at least. And Tate's a fighter. So like fighter code, you don't do shit like that.
Yeah, I mean, during that podcast tour, Tristan said, talking to this rich Jew in Miami, that I have an Israeli girlfriend. Earlier today, he's tweeting that he's praying for the people of Israel. It's like, and then they admitted they have tech teams in Israel. So this I don't know, the credibility doesn't make a lot of sense. I don't know if you're still close with Laura Loomer, but 2 days ago, she's tweeting saying that she wants the FBI and the DOJ to investigate me. She's calling me a terrorist. She's saying, allegedly, that, Kick should ban me because I'm making too much money. Is she plugged up with the White House? What's the deal with her? People saying she can't buy a gun, she can't purchase a weapon because she's in and out of psych wards.
Yeah, she has something with a psych ward. I'm pretty sure that's true. These people, they've really just shown them true selves, that everything's about Israel. They don't really care about America. They don't care about Americans. Not all of them, but like 2/3 or 3/4 of them, if you start speaking against Israel, they turn on you. I lost a friend of the only friend I've ever lost over this stuff. I thought we were still friends. You're like, oh, these people put their tribe first. If you're of the tribe, you could say it's a good thing, but being an American, being like, we have these people in power that put a foreign country before our own, the majority of them, that's a problem.
You were there. I just remembered, speaking of friends that you lose over this, you remember we went to go see a UFC fight. We went, Nate Diaz, and I brought my Jewish friend. He's a Zionist. And so I had these tickets. It was floor seats. It was really nice. He came with us, and then he was one of the promoters that ended up calling Noah Tepperberg all over the Epstein Files, CEO of Tao Group, pushing for me to get banned from all restaurants and clubs part of hospitality groups in America. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I remember I didn't like the guy. I remember telling you, I don't like this guy. Something about his vibe just threw me off right away. He's some cool people, but I'm like, I don't like this guy. He's kind of a weirdo. And sure enough, he showed it's it's interesting how many of them have done that. Like, I've never lost a friend in politics. I was in San Francisco, New York, and I voted for Trump the first term, and people didn't lose any friends over that, despite people being they were insane over Trump, but no one ever got mad at me over it because I'm usually cool with things. And even I thought I was still friends with this Jewish guy, and then he was acting like he was friends, finding out who my sponsors were, and then he was sending him emails saying like, Jake's an anti-Semite. I'm just like ultimately, like, bro, that's literally every single stereotype of a Jew you just did. You're going after my money, you're lying, you're being deceitful. Like, this is the reason people hate you. Like, how do you not see this? It's stereotypes exist for a reason, I guess.
Again, I still have,
I guess, one Jewish friend, maybe 1.5, but it's gotten harder.
Yeah, I barely even, since the whole club situation, everything, I've barely been leaving the house. I went outside last night, but I've just been putting in a lot of crazy hours. Well, have you learned about Professor Jang? That's like somebody, for good information, right? I don't agree with everything he says. He is Chinese, but I had him on the stream recently, and he's going to come on again in 5 days. Do you like his content?
I've only seen a little bit, but it's looked pretty interesting. Like you said, I've agreed with some of it and not agreed with some of it, but it looks pretty interesting. He'd be a guy I would talk to if he ever, if he ever wants to do an extra podcast, because he is interesting. You did him before, right? I think I saw a couple clips.
Yeah, I had him on recently. I'm going to have him on again in 5 days.
Well, he has this theory. I find this theory hilarious that everyone's debating over: are the Jews deliberately trying to be hated? So the question is, are they just that unlikable and hated, or are they trying to make you hate them? It's just funny that we're actually having a serious debate over this. And most people seem to think the Jews are trying to be hated. I think they're just so arrogant that they can't help it. But almost everyone disagrees with me. That's literally an argument people are having. It's like, they're like, no, they can't possibly be this terrible. They're just trying to make you hate them. That's an argument going on. I think he was the guy I saw him making that argument. I've seen so many people make that argument.
Yeah, people in the chat are saying both, but I definitely think, if you look at the Samson option, also you look at eschatology. So Jews need to bring all Jews to Greater Israel. So they want to bring everyone back. So part of the goal is to, if anti-Semitism is trying to be spread. But it's weird to see that, because that it does make sense. But the ADL and these organizations are trying so hard to censor and cancel people. I've been banned everywhere for talking about this. But that could be part of the method, get people to be more outraged because they've been banned and because they've been debanked, because you can't go to a restaurant or a club anymore for listening to a goofy song. It's a bit of both. Maybe the chat's right.
Isn't this funny though? We don't know. We're sitting there being like, are they trying to make people hate them, or are they just they're likable? We don't know. That's how ridiculous. Think of having this conversation with anyone else. Are you trying to make people hate you, or are you just that unlikable? And I don't know the answer to that.
Well, what do you think about the Khazarian theory? Because part of the theory, although the DNA testing is hard to legitimize, but people like Netanyahu, Zelensky, they don't look Semitic, they don't look Sephardic, right? They say that 80% of the global Jewish population is Ashkenazi. When these come from the Khazarian Empire, when the empire fell, they converted to Judaism, right? And this crypto-Jew theory has been common throughout time. If the people insinuate Columbus, Ataturk, Jacob Frank, a lot of these are Jews that converted and joined other secret societies or the religions to go undercover, like the Jesuit orders, predominantly Jews that converted to Christianity to subvert Christianity to get them work for Jews as well. I'm wondering, because people say that that's part of a psyop, but I think that there's something to say there. And it's not like a redirection, because they're like, oh, this is slop. And the reason I don't think it's slop is because it's still serving the same agenda. It's still fulfilling Jewish eschatology. It's not really redirecting blame. It's probably an accurate description of the fact that people like Netanyahu are definitely not Semitic and they're not indigenous to the land they say was promised to them 3,000 years ago.
Yeah, no, people get mad about that theory and say it's a redirection, but I don't see it as a redirection, at least the way some people maybe try to use this redirection. There are people that use it that way, being like, oh, no, it's not the Jews, it's the Khazarians or whatever, or the Frankists.
Well, that's not what I'm saying. It's not that it's not the Jews, but they are, it's not just not the people of original Israel, but they're still serving the prophecy.
Yeah, it's the Ashkenazi Jews or whatever, and I think there is something to the Khazarian thing. It's like, because there's different, there are 3 or 4 different types of Jews, and I think the ones that cause most of the problems are the Ashkenazi ones. And they clearly see themselves as better than other Jews too, by the way. Like, they see Goyim are obviously way below them, but they're a level above the other Jews. I could see them maybe getting rid of the other Jews once they take power, or if they do take power. The Sephardic Jews, there's the bottom of it is the black Jews. They don't like them. The Ethiopian Jews.
Yeah, there's some funny things in the Talmud that talk about black people and the Goyim idea. The Jewish supremacy is a real subject. I don't think people should even say Zionism, just say Jewish supremacy. What do they say about Ethiopian Jews?
They don't. They were giving them. They were trying to sterilize them because they were coming there because they have that right to return, and they're Jews, and they've been Jews for I don't know how long, at least hundreds of years. So they didn't want them, so they're giving them really high dosages of birth control without telling them. They're telling them it was like something else, and they're shooting them up with this drug so they couldn't have kids. And it's like they're so racist. It's like you have these dumb there's this dumb black guy who works for what's he work for? One of those channels. He's a gay black conservative. He's such a clown because all he does is just these simps for Israel. Well, there's a couple of them, the black ones. There's like Tatum. He's not the one I was thinking of though. Officer Tatum. That guy's such a clown. But all these guys serving their Jewish masters. It's so pathetic.
Yeah, they're like the best house slaves. I mean, they really do serve Massa well. I'm wondering what you think about. I was gonna ask. Not about Frankism. Oh, I just lost it.
Yeah, I mean the Frankists though on that one, I think they're 100% a real. It was a real group, and Candace got a ton of shit
for talking about them. I think she made the mistake of saying it's not the Jews, it's the Frankists. The thing is, the Frankists are Jews. They're just like a cult offshoot. And they're like crazy. I need to do more research in them. They did all kinds of. I think they're the ones, the Sabbateans or whatever. They had a belief that like I think a lot of these people have that of like what we consider evil, they consider good. So they're encouraging.
Yeah, Frankism is the ideology that you should sin as much as possible because divinity is within you, and you access your divinity by separating yourself from God, who is perfect, and humans have the capability of sin. So it's literally like the inversion of Islam. We're supposed to do good things so that we can make it to heaven. Frankist is the opposite. Let's do bad things. They want to sin as much as they possibly can. Do rituals with children, which is the worst thing you could possibly do, because when you sin more, you learn more about yourself.
Yeah, and lots of this is actually in the Talmud too. It's like they have inverted morals. So you know how they always say we're the world's most moral army? Well, if you look at their code, maybe they are, because their morals are backwards. Like, raping and killing kids is moral according to them.
Well, Jake, did you know that I think I'm 12% Ashkenazi Jew?
Uh-oh. That's hey, as long as you aren't doing the evil stuff, I don't care. Like I said, I have a couple friends that are like, or I want to say a couple, one friend who's fully Jewish still, so I don't have hatred towards them. It's just Jews do need to step up though and separate it. Like way more Jews need to do better, because I haven't really seen many Jews there's the ones calling it Zionism, but I haven't really seen, maybe I'm wrong, maybe there has been, I haven't seen a single Jew looking at the Epstein files being like, what the fuck? There really is a Jewish cabal running the world.
Aiden called it out. But I don't think it's an ethnicity problem. It's the ideology of supremacy and racial supremacy, believing that the chosen people are capable of doing everything because of their ethnicity. So there's so many Jewish converts to Islam, right? As long as your faith is what really matters. Your faith is what guides you and leads you, and that's what God really cares about, isn't it?
Yeah, they need to get rid of that supremacy. That needs to be wiped out of their culture. But also, there's a bigger problem of it's kind of an off subject, but it's also the banking. So you have this religion, which has supremacy, everyone's better than them, but they've also managed to capture the banks, the stock market. That's how they're able to make so much money. So they're able to control us because, look at the Federal Reserve. They literally print money out of thin air and then charge the goyim interest on it.
Well, if the American empire does fall, right, if this war is unsuccessful and Iran is able to win, where would you go? I'm wondering what you think now, because the stock market's probably going to crash a lot, and then they buy up the stocks when it's low. Maybe we get bombed the same way that Dubai and the Gulf countries get bombed, and then maybe Trump just ruin our country because he doesn't want his blackmail to be released. What do you think is the future? Where do you go? What are your plans?
Yeah, I don't know. I can't give too much. I can't have to flee this country. I can't tell people where I'm going, but it has been in the back of my mind, put some Bitcoin away, be ready to flee just in case, because these are evil people. They are trying to take over our country. They can't shut off our banks. They can't shut down our money. They have Palantir to track everything we do. Palantir gives kill scores to people in Palestine and kills them. I'm sure we have kill scores here too. So they're watching us, tracking us. They have these camps. They built these giant camps for immigrants, but it's probably really for anti-Semites.
Well, Jake, when are you gonna become Abdul Jake Shields and finally, worship the one true God and no other idols without him? When are you gonna?
Maybe soon.
There is one God, but we can love God and Jesus. Well, I guess you guys do. So
we do love God and Jesus is the Messiah, and he's going to come back. We love Jesus. We revere him as a prophet, and we worship the one true God. Jake, I see it. Chad, I don't know. I'm not trying to force it, but don't you see it? It's
right now. I'm trying to bring Christians and Muslims together. It's obviously a different religion, but they have to realize that they're such a close religion versus the people who, they literally killed Christians' God, and they killed your Savior, and I think he's burning in hell.
Well, it's not just about other people, Jake. I mean, it's also about you. It's also about your salvation. You're doing a great job, trying your best to get truth out there. But it's also about you, Jake Shields, individually, right?
Yeah, no, exactly. And there's clearly a spiritual battle been going on, and I've been, I'm thinking about all this stuff. It's all complicated because to me, I'm looking at Christianity and Islam so similar.
Yeah, but, definitely. Well,
I'm slowly getting there. It just takes a while when you grow up non-religious to process it all, and you start realizing. Over the last year, I've seen there clearly is a God. I think longer than that, but you're seeing there's a spiritual battle being played out, and that these evil people also believe it and worship these demons and do sacrifices. Once you start seeing all this crazy shit's real, then it's like there better be a God if there's a devil.
I remember right after I fought Strickland, we went to the masjid to pray. Juma, how did you feel there? In the theme of Ramadan, not to try to be too forceful and spread. But how did you feel? How was that experience?
That was actually great. I was surprised. I didn't know that non-Muslims could go to mosque and pray. I was surprised how amazing I was treated. That's why when I saw Jake Lang pretending he got kicked out of a mosque for being a white Christian, I'm like, that's not the experience I had at all. I'm sure he was there yelling at them, causing a scene.
Jake, he's literally Jewish, by the way. Jake Lang's Jewish, right?
Yeah, no, I do. And he shows up and does those. He's tried to get me to help him push his things. And he got mad at me that I wouldn't. He threatened to sue me. Like it's the most Jewish thing ever for calling him a Jew. It is interesting that he brings crosses to the anti-Muslim things and says Christ is king. Why doesn't he wear his little tiny hat and say Christ is burning in hell?
Well, because he's trying to trick and subvert and redirect the outrage onto Muslims.
Exactly. And that's just, people need to see this every single time. As you said earlier, that I saw a clip, you had that girl that was dancing, being yesterday I saw it. She was dancing, celebrating Iranian, and then she's holding the little Star of David up in a picture.
Every time, huh? Well, is there anything you disagree with in Islam? What's what is holding you back?
Nothing really. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. There's nothing like you said. I've been pro-Islam. I'm one of the few white Americans is pro-Islam without being a Muslim. I get attacked for it, but it's why would it be anti-Islam? I don't. People think when you say that means you want to flood lots of Muslims over the country. It doesn't mean that. I think a lot of Americans are kind of arrogant or kind of ignorant. They don't understand that Islam's a religion and there's different cultures amongst the religion. So it's there's every culture, of course, there's better, just like Christianity. We have different cultures in Christianity. We have Christians in the Congo. It doesn't mean, so I don't want to bring them here, So yeah, I'm not trying to bring, people think I'm not anti-Islam. It means they want to bring 1 million Pakistanis over here. No, it doesn't mean that. It's just I've been to different countries and yeah, some of them are better than others. So it's, so the religion helps shape the culture, but it's also separate cultures too. Americans don't seem to understand that. And
that's part of the problem with applying racial ideology into faith, because that's exactly why Jewish supremacy is such an issue. Because when you have a racial caste system and a hierarchy and you treat other people with arrogance and you think that you're better, that's how you get corruption in the land, right? The reason that Matt Walsh, he always gets mad about Haiti, they never calls Haiti a Christian country. When Trump kidnaps Maduro and he bombs Venezuela, they never call that a Christian country. When drug dealers and cartel gangsters come in from the southern Mexican border, they never call them Catholic gangsters. But when immigrants come into Europe after their countries are bombed, they always call them Muslim immigrants, because that's part of the propaganda, that's part of the tool.
No, I think that's 100% true. They always call, of course there's shitty Muslims out there, but there's also shitty Christians. I think you just nailed it with all these and nothing against, Haitians and Venezuelans, but obviously the culture might be a little bit behind and they're more savage and more crime and stuff. So sit there, we're not going to be we're talking about them. You're not these Christians, you just nailed it. But then anytime it's a Muslim, even if it's different country, we never look at that. They want to lump it all again. They don't realize places there's lots of safe, Muslim countries like Morocco, Dubai, Saudi Arabia.
Dubai, I don't know. Dubai definitely lost that reputation.
Yeah, it was safe.
Did you see the Ian Miles John, whenever he posted a video?
The video was worse than the bomb. Like, he's there in the club, and it's like he flips the camera around. And he's like smoking a hookah. It's like, dude, this is worse propaganda than the bombs, bro.
Yeah, it's like it was the worst. It's like him, 3 hookers, and some dude dork on his phone.
Well, as a fighter, right? Because you have I'm sure you separate from. You can see that there's definitely a lot of weakness when people follow isms and liberalism. People worship Trump. People worship the Republican or the Democrat Party. What do you think when you see the Shia unity right now? The people, gathering together in their response to Hamidi being assassinated. What's your perspective?
I think they need unity. It would be nice to see the Shia and Sunnis unite. And I think some of the people have been a little bit, like a lot of the Sunni people are pissed off and they want to unite. But I think they need to come together and realize Israel is the one completely tearing that country apart. And if they don't come together, it's going to keep falling apart. And maybe there'll be a positive this war. Maybe it will people realize it. And it's also like, why is our military bases there? I think it'd be better for them and us if they weren't there. Like, it doesn't help America having these bases in the Middle East. They're just there for Israel.
It does help American empire because it allows us to control that, and it helps us establish ourselves as the #1 empire, and it helps our economy because it forces the Gulf countries to trade oil with our currency. Right, our currency is based off of nothing. So if people have to follow it, that's the only thing that makes it real. And that it helps maintain our financial. It helps the stock market. Did you see? There's one more thing I want to ask you. Did you see Netanyahu recently said, or maybe this is a recovered speech? He said Hitler didn't want to kill all Jews. It was the Muslims. Hitler was actually not that bad because he wanted to send 70,000, 80,000 Jews into Palestine, and it was really the Muslims that wanted to execute. Did you see that?
I did. That was a little while ago, right? And it's like, I would guess that's nonsense. I don't know, but pretty much everything they say, you realize is propaganda. Since, when you literally have Robert Maxwell, the dad of Ghislaine Maxwell, writing our textbooks, and then you look at who's behind Hollywood, it's just been propaganda has been pushed on us so heavy. And now they're trying to switch it like, oh, it was like Muslims are new enemies. So like, it was the Muslims because Germany's their bitch now. Germany does what they tell them. So now it's like, okay, we need a new enemy.
And they could switch it up. And there's something funny looking back now. If you read Albert Speer was Hitler's architect. It's a good read. I think you would like it. And in there, he says that Hitler was envious of the Mohammedans. He was envious of the Muslims. He said that he wished Germany was Muslim because he found it to be a manna religion. In German, that means a masculine religion. And it was like a shame that it couldn't be because, he was a racial supremacist too. He wanted a racial caste system. And so he saw, although he wanted Germany to be Muslim and that he wanted that unity, he couldn't let go of the fact that he thought it was submitting to the Arabs. So he thought it was like a lower class society. But he said, this is from Hitler, he thought Christianity was a weak religion because Christianity does exalt weakness. It worships Jesus at like a bloody, tortured man who's dying, and they put him on the cross. And so it's revering somebody at their literal weakest state. Hitler was not about that at all. Hitler loved the idea of strength, and he saw that within Islam.
Yeah, no, I think it's interesting, and you get some of these like racists, like Hitler. Yeah, Hitler was a little bit racist, but he's not as racist as people make him out to be. He had ties with these Muslim countries. He had ties with Japan. They make it out like he's the ultimate racist, which is not true. He wanted Germany to stay German, but he didn't have hatred towards these other races.
People are getting mad about what I just said in the chat. But I didn't say anything incorrect. Like, Christianity is the idea, right? Like, you worship a Jewish guy when he's at his literal weakest state, when he's been persecuted the most.
He's the son of God. I don't think he'd be a Jew. That's kind of
Well, no, he was. Jesus is literally a Jew.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if he's the son of God, then he wouldn't be. He started Christianity, so he's not a Jew. He started a new religion.
Well, ethnically, he is a Jew. I mean, that he comes from the region of Judea. He was a rabbi. He was literally a rabbi.
Bible never says Mary's race, and if his father is God, so it's, I don't know. You can make the argument. He's from the area, mostly Jews, so I see the argument. But
this is pretty well accepted in Islam and Christianity that Jesus was. I mean, obviously, he didn't believe in the faith. That they rejected him as the Messiah, but he was from that tribe, 100%.
Fully rejecting the faith, though. Calling it the synagogue of Satan, so.
No, that's what I'm saying, the difference of faith, but ethnically, Jesus is definitely a Jew. The thing is, though, I mean, do you believe somebody could be the? I mean, it could be a separate conversation, but could someone be the son of God? Who's the mom then?
I don't know. That's a complex one, you know. I try not to get too into the. Like I said, I like Christianity and Islam, and I think it's time to try to unite them, and instead of divide them. You got to look at like the. It seems kind of pointless to argue over small points about Jesus when you have people, they killed him, they tortured him, they killed him. I think he's burning in hell.
Yeah. I'm not. This is not an argument. It's just asking like logical questions. It's like how could
my brain does get a little. I'm not gonna lie.
You get a little confused on some of this stuff.
Which are these important questions to ask without getting people divided or anything? I mean, they say the Son of God and God. And also the Trinity, Holy Spirit. They say the Holy Spirit is within you, but the Holy Spirit is God, so God is within you. So is Jesus within you? And then 3 is 1, but he's the Son, but the Father existed first, but they're co-equal, even though the Father created the Son. The stuff like, I mean, it's important to discuss. It's important to talk about the stuff in a non-divisive way so we can analyze things because we're supposed to be logical as men.
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think religion gets a hard time to be like, if you get too logical, it gets tricky, which is the problem. That's why I typically don't argue and debate religion with people, because you realize it's not the most. I'm a very logical person. My brain works in a very logical way. But you start breaking down pieces of religion, there starts being holes. So it's like people kind of have to make that religious like leap of faith, I guess.
Well, does anything logically?
People have our kind of religion.
Does anything logically not make sense in Islam to you?
So let me. I'll do a little more. I'm gonna look into it. And I'll try to find something.
Well, as of now, is there anything that doesn't make sense to you logically?
Like I said before, I don't know if it was someone else I was talking about. One thing I don't like about Christianity is the original sin. I don't like the idea that a baby is born with sin. I think a baby is born pure with purity. That's why hurting a child is the most evil thing you could do. But overall, I agree with most of the teachings in Christianity. So
we don't believe in original sin either, and that's always been confusing me. I grew up Catholic. It's like, wait, if Jesus died for our sins, then why do we need to cleanse ourselves of original sin? What was the point?
Yeah, that's one of the few ones that doesn't really make sense. And there's some Old Testament stuff, but again, I guess that was the Testament before Jesus.
Then what about Islam? There's nothing?
Yeah, I honestly need to do a lot more research on both Christianity and Islam.
Okay. Yeah, it's important right now. But yeah, thanks for coming on, Jake. Keep fighting the good fight, man. Appreciate what you're doing.
Yeah, we'll talk again sometime soon.
All right. So. Peace out. Abdul Jake Shields. I'm joking around. Peace, man. Talk soon.
As many of you know, I have many controversial guests, so that comes at a cost of being demonetized everywhere. So if you want to support the program, go to fightbackpodcast.com, and I have all kinds of merch on there, whether it's jiu-jitsu, fighting, political, and other accessories. And thanks for the support.